Did you know some of the biggest and best brands aren't big because of design, but because they're masters at psychology? So today we're going to break down how psychology and branding and sales and marketing and all of these things go together and how you're going to end up with a better brand. In today's video, I'll show you how tapping into the mind of your audience can give your brand an unstoppable edge. Let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Bree and I'm your favorite creator, manager, and branding strategist. And on this channel, I talk about all things branding tips, content tips, influencer marketing, everything in that realm so that you can have a standout brand or you can be the influencer that you want to be. So what does branding and psychology have to do with each other? And if you're asking yourself, what do you know about psychology? So I actually have a degree in psychology. Originally, I was going to be a therapist, and eventually that train failed because I realized that it's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But this plays a big role in marketing, especially on social media. So I think this is something that doesn't get talked about enough, but that's why we're here to talk about it today. So I want to read the exact definition of brand psychology. Brand psychology refers to the study of how human thoughts, emotions, and behavior interact with branding. It explores the psychological principles that influence how people perceive, engage with, and form relationships with brands. And I want to emphasize the form relationships with brands. That is the most important piece as an influencer and as a brand. Thinking of how you can make that connection to the audience. So what this means at the end of the day is that brands need a human connection. You know, one of my favorite things that I've been seeing recently is, influencers are on their way out. There's not going to be a need for them anymore. AI is taking over. AI is going to be able to do this. This is where people get marketing confused with the way that we shop. At the end of the day, yes, there are marketing, sales, and tactics that you can learn in business school, but at the center of it, the reason why AI technology cannot take the place of influencers is because influencers are influencing the way that people buy things, which is human behavior. Most brands that don't have a psychological foundation or don't use, any type of psychology behind the branding will always fall short. And this is why I tell a lot of people that I work with, clients, people who ask me on TikTok, like, hey, like, why aren't my videos performing? Why don't people engage with me? Is there a human connection there? Or are you just getting online and telling us everything that you're doing in your life? How are you making an actual humanly connection with your audience members? So we'll get into that. As a brand, the biggest thing you have is trust between you and the customer. We trust that when we go to Target, that the products are all going to be in good condition, that we can buy, that there will be no hassle getting in and out the store, because Target has built a brand that we trust. And that can go with any brand. Think of your favorite brand. Why do you trust them? What are some things that makes you trust them? When you think about branding on social media, think about your favorite brands and how they show up on social media. What is something that you like about those brands on social media? So according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a psychological theory, there are 5 things that we need as humans. We need basic needs, so that's like food, clothing, shelter, water. We have safety needs, so this is like stability, security. We need to feel safe. We have social needs, so wanting to be loved, sense of belonging, all of these things are social needs. We have esteem needs, which would be like recognitions and like achievements. Those type of things are esteem needs. Then finally, we have self-actualization, so like personal growth, development, all these things. Because at the core, these are the only things that we need as humans. So if your subject that you're talking about on your social media, if you're, you've made a product and they don't fit within these 5, you're gonna have a really hard time trying to brand yourself and make a humanly connection with people. So this means like really understanding where your brand fits. Like, how does it fit in these 5 things, right? And you also have to remember, once you figure out the need, now you can figure out their desires, their wants, and their fears, because we know the need. Knowing the need is the biggest piece. It's almost like the umbrella, and everything else, the wants, the desires, all of these things fall within that umbrella. So with all of my clients that I work with branding, one of the biggest pieces that we go over is audience persona guides or buyer persona guides. A lot of people always think about the product. They think about how they want to show up online. They think about, oh, I want my logo to be pink. I want my product casing to look like this. I want my personal brand to be funny. I want, you know, all these things, and they aren't thinking about who the audience is. If you have a brand or you are an influencer, before you even post 1 ounce of content for that said brand or personal brand, you need to sit down and write out, who am I speaking to? And I don't just mean women between 25 to 30. No, 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 no. We're getting deeper. I mean, I'm talking to the dog mom in their 30s who doesn't have kids yet, who's still looking for a man, who lives in the suburbs, drives a white Porsche, whatever that may look like. You need to have a specific audience persona. For example, I just worked with a client recently, and her 5, as she is a social change advocate, we had 5 specific people that were within this audience persona that she needs to speak to within all pieces of her content. One example was university, so professors, deans, all these things. Another one was like policymakers, so you know, legislators. That's a big category as well. Then I think the third I had, and mind you, I don't have it in front of me, so, and this is a project I worked on a while back, she was also really big into the arts. So one thing was like people who are, you know, leaders within the art space, who are running these type of things, creatives, other art leaders, like, so just creating all of these personas of who these people look like and who we want to target. Because some of the best piece of branding advice I've ever gotten in my whole life, and it's content advice too, but it's, if you try to speak to everyone, you will speak to no one. I say this almost every time I make a TikTok video or go on live, because it is so important to think about that. And I think a lot of the time when I am sitting down and I'm helping people with their content, I ask them, who are you speaking to? And they'll be like, I have no idea. I just know I want to make lifestyle content. In this day and age where we are in a saturated market online, you have to be different and you have to stand out. You have to find leverage somewhere, and the best form of leverage that can be found is within human behavior. I want to give you a good example of what it looks like for a brand to, you know, prey, and I don't like to say the word prey on human emotion, but essentially a lot of brands prey upon human emotion and feelings. So for example, you know, we're in an age where nobody wants to take dating seriously and whatever. Hinge markets themselves as, you're going to delete the app once you're off of Hinge, but they know their target audience. Single people. Most single people have the same want. They want to be in a relationship. So Hinge is providing them with that. So they know what their wants are, they know what their desires are, and they know what their fears are. So Hinge actually just came out with like a new update to where you're not allowed to like or have over 10 people that you're talking to at one time. And I think a part of why they did this is because of a fear that these people have being on this app. Like, I'm just another number. Like, I feel like I go through so many people. You know, men are, you know, talking to 20 girls at once on Hinge. Well, Hinge said, okay, we hear the complaints, we hear the fears that our audience members are showcasing. How can we fix that? So literally, once again, using fears, desires, emotions, wants, all these things to formulate how you will grow the brand or change the brand. Knowing these things will help you know how to shift your brand. So that's why it's super important to study these audience personas. Let's even go a step further and talk about the things past. Okay, you have the brand now, you know your target audience, you created this brand to speak to a specific person to get this emotion or this need met. Now you're in a situation where you have the product, you have the audience. What's next? Now we're at the point where we need to leverage cognitive bias. An example like this would be like the scarcity effect. Like whenever you're online in like Fashion Nova or Shein or whatever fashion brand, you've been shopping online for 15 minutes and you get a message and it says, hey, if you check out within the next 30 minutes, we're going to give you 30% off your order. Or they'll send you a message on some boots that you're looking at and say there are only 2 left. It immediately puts you in the scarcity mindset of, okay, if I don't do this now, I'm missing out on something. This is triggering an emotion in people. This is making people fearful, making people have anxiety or be anxious about this product or buying this product. They're preying on emotion essentially, so they can use human behavior to help their sales. That's a good example of like leveraging cognitive bias. Another good example, you go on someone's website and you're like, okay, I really want this service, but I'm not really sure. The first thing you see on the website is the homepage. The next thing you see immediately are customer testimonials. Why put those on there? What's the point? Not only are you giving social proof, but you're providing a feeling of relaxation, a feeling of, okay, I can trust you, calming anxiety, calming nerves. This is a way to make people feel a little less resistant to this service. And social proof equals trust. You're building trust, and trusting someone has emotions involved. This is a two-way relationship. And I think we get so caught up in the numbers and sales tactics and marketing tactics and percentages and how can we use SEO for this? How can we? All of those things are important. But at the end of the day, we have to remind ourselves that these products are going to humans. This page is directed for humans. My audience are humans. So what can I do that will speak to them using their behavior? This is also where, like, when people have brand stories, like, storytelling obviously is super huge right now. Like, this is a way to connect to the audience. But why is storytelling a way to connect to the audience? Because you're able to incite emotions, right? When I think of brands like Fenty Beauty, I think of like loud, confident, courageous, like instilling all of these things, because their social identity online showcases that, the inclusivity of the product showcase that, and they're all telling us a story about how we can express ourselves, how we can all feel included, how this is for everyone. This is a product for everyone, how we can be confident in the way we wear things. All of these things are telling a story. So once you figure out how am I going to formulate my story, what makes me me online, tell your audience that. Give them your story. Like, if you're in beauty and maybe like maybe you're really good at makeup, or maybe you're really good at hair, maybe talk about the time that maybe you weren't so fond of your hair. Maybe you always straightened your hair when you were younger because you didn't like having your curly hair. No one else had it. It made you feel different, whatever. Let that be the basis. Even if you don't want to go, that deep, incite some type of emotion in your audience so that they actually feel connected to you. Because once you are vulnerable, and that is with any brand, that is how you tie the connection. That's how you tie the knot. That is how you are able to now be able to say, okay, this is an audience member, and now how can I serve them based on the behavior that they've shown me? So I hope this kind of unlocked some things for you in your mind and really got your brain just working and going, because I think at this point in time, when it comes to content online and how we show up, I really think that people are overanalyzing. I think we are focused too much on the wrong things instead of what we are doing online. And we're trying to connect to humans. We're trying to connect to humans. Let's use human behavior to our advantage. Honestly, this was kind of a deeper video. I wasn't expecting it to be, but I really hope this helped you guys. Like, a lot of you guys really, and I mean, I'm getting messages all day, guys. A lot of people really are overthinking the content. All you need is storytelling ability, a basic knowledge, and hear me, basic. I have an advanced knowledge, once again, because I have a degree, but basic knowledge of human behavior and creativity. If you have those three things, there is absolutely no reason why your profiles shouldn't perform. There's no reason why your brand shouldn't perform. Those are the three key things that you need to have a successful brand. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. Please let me know if it was down in the comments down below. If you're someone who needs help with branding strategy, content writing, copywriting, anything within the realm of social media and branding, you can schedule a call with me. All those links will be down in the description box. At your use, feel free to check me out. And if not, at least make sure you subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.